Hello, you wonderful people. I hope you're all doing awesome. We're back for the next community call. It's January. Well, it's the end of January, but we're still excited to share with you all the cool updates, all the things that have been happening. I'm joined here with Theo, who's going to later in the stream talk about building his first plugin, which is super exciting. But before we jump in, I just want to say hello to everybody. Wish you and your families Happy New Year. We're in 2025 with everything that's going on in the world. I wish you and your families all the best, and I'm glad that you're able to join us here today. And before we start, let us know where you're from. How's the weather? How are things going? I am from USA. I live near Austin, Texas, and it's a little bit chilly. And hello, Jennifer. Are you able to record? We are recording, so there'll be a recording afterwards. Hey, Chris. Hello from Long Beach, California. Nice. Poland. Represent. What's up? Hello. Yeah, don't be shy. Start in the chat. We will do Q&A afterwards as well. So if you have questions, you could save them for later, but you could also ask them in the chat. We see Pierre here. Amazing. So many folks, Rosie, Mark from our team, Jennifer from Bogota, Colombia, super awesome. Bart's here from Chicago. Yes, a lot of our teammates are here. Really exciting, really awesome. Hello, Said, Viva. Hey, everyone. Maximilian near Munich, Germany. Hello. So many amazing people. So exciting. London, oh my goodness, from Morocco. I love how Strapi is such a international community. It's so amazing. Really love saying hello to all of you and having so much fun. Bobby from Jackson, Florida. Nice. James, Boston, Mass. Man, how's the weather in Boston? I used to live in Connecticut, so between Boston and New York, my kitty came to say hello. And I used to work in Boston a while back, and I remember driving in the snow sometimes. My goodness, Germany, fantastic. It's so amazing. I have a rambunctious kitty on my desk, so if you see a tail, don't worry about it. It's just a cat. India, nice, awesome. So many folks here. So glad to be here. And by the way, if you missed this or you can't stay for the whole time, this is going to be recorded and available to all of you afterwards, which is pretty awesome. So we'll jump in. And again, if you have any questions, want to say hello, you could always put in the chat, and we will have a Q&A afterwards as well. But what's on the agenda today? We're going to talk about year in the review, because I want to highlight all the cool things that the Strapi team was able to accomplish with the community's help, which is awesome. We'll talk quickly about road updates, because we have a big announcement. Maybe you heard it, maybe you didn't, but I'll let you know what it is. And I want to talk about two of my favorite features that are coming or are here. And they're going to continue to be worked on and added new features, but we have the Strapi SDK and Strapi preview. And then we're going to have Theo talking about building his first plugins. I think it's such a superpower of Strapi of having plugins, because any new feature, functionality, or let's say you have a business need, something that Theo's going to share that he built for himself to make his life easier, you can accomplish with plugins. We're also going to highlight some of our newer Strapi 5 plugins, because Strapi 5 is fairly new. We are in the process of helping all the creators and our third-party plugin maintainers to migrate their plugins. And we definitely want to hear your feedback on the plugin development process. So if you have never built a plugin, hopefully Theo will excite you today to go ahead and make your first plugin. Well, here's the announcement. And just Strapi Conf is happening. And here's, you see Paris, France. It's actually going to be a live event. So if you can make it, and we hope you can, we would love to meet our community members and everyone at the conference. And we'll share the link in the chat to where you could learn more about it. But more importantly, if you wanted to give a talk, and thank you, Pierre, got me covered, sharing the blog for the event, definitely go check it out. And the most important thing that I want to say here is for Strapi Conf, we are still doing call to papers. We have a lot of spots for lightning talks available. So if you have a cool idea or a cool talk that you want to give, definitely go ahead, submit it via that link. I see Maddie here. Really excited. We're excited too. Hope you could make it because we love to see you. And this is so cool and so awesome. So really, really excited. And some of the big announcements are going to happen at StrapiConf. So we are going to talk about a lot of cool stuff, but we're saving the best for May 13th. So hopefully you will be able to make it there. So moving on, a big reminder, we have open office hours on Discord. Here's the from 12:30 p.m. CST time, Monday through Friday. So that's 5 days a week, 12:30 p.m. CST time. You actually have Derek and I and other members of the community and from the team sometimes join, where you could stop in and ask questions live, like literally talk to us. You could tell us about all the cool features you like about Strapi. You could even give us feedback or constructive criticism, or even complain if you like, because we're there for you to hear your voice, help you with issues that you may be having. So really, really awesome. And thank you, Richard, for throwing in that link there, which is really awesome. So definitely take advantage of it. It's amazing. So let's talk about year in review. So many things have happened, but the biggest thing is we released Strapi 5. So much work. Huge congratulations to our team and the community for the feedback and helping us with testing. Really, really awesome. And my favorite part, outside of these amazing features like draft and publish, content history, the fact that it is in TypeScript, we simplified the new API format. If you've been with Strapi for a long time, we went from Strapi 3, which had a flat response. We went to Strapi 4. We wanted to add new features, so we redid the API response. But we heard your feedback from the community that said, wait, it's too busy. You have to simplify it. So we went back and made the change. So thank you for the community for giving us your feedback. So Strapi 5, new API format, smaller payload size, flatten the response. Obviously, if you want to build a plugin, we have our plugin CLI tool that allows you to quickly jumpstart your plugin. And of course, we now do Vite bundling, which is really cool, helped us to improve our performance. We also made amazing improvements on Strapi Cloud. Backups, multi-environments. We improved the deployment by 3 times. So before it was taking about 8 minutes, now we're down to 3, which is really pretty awesome. We have new regions, EU, Singapore, and Australia. And most importantly, GDPR and SOC 2 compliance. I know for a lot of organizations, this is very important. So again, huge congrats to the team for, I mean, this was a whole company effort to become a SOC 2 compliant. So very huge and really, really awesome. Really huge congrats to everybody. And our community is just so amazing and growing. We had over 200 community contributors. We had 40 new plugins added to the Strapi marketplace. We have partners across 6 continents and our first enterprise level partner. And if you wanting to learn more about our partner program, you could always reach out to Mark. He will be more than happy to chat with you and tell you all about it. And taking a look in the year in review, I mean, look at all the things. I just wanted to highlight this slide because a lot of people like looking from the outside into Strapi, you know, we all want all these cool features. We all want these new things to do. But at the same time, you know, Strapi, we are, you know, not an infinite company with bajillion employees. We have our team. We have so many amazing developers and everybody on our team. And the fact that all this work takes time, I just wanted to highlight, look how much our team was able to accomplish. With that being said, this is so cool because I love the fact that Strapi is open source and the community edition is free for everyone and will always be free. And one of the hardest things I find, and I'm just going to say it here, is as a company, how do you continue building this amazing product, but at the same time, figuring out cool ways to continue to support the community with free offerings, but at the same time, through our support, through Strapi Cloud, still be able to be a company that is able to continue to grow and, you know, be profitable to support all those other features that we have. And look at all these features that we have created. Really amazing. If you're sitting there, give a big hand to the Strapi team and to the community. We had so many things that we've done. And I mean, so many features to mention. And I'm already 11 minutes into the call. I want to make sure we'll get to the meat of it, but I want to talk about some of the key highlights. One of the things that I wanted to highlight here is everybody knows that we have our community edition. Everybody knows that we have our enterprise plan. And for a lot of folks, community edition makes sense. I have many projects. I mean, I love Strapi. I use Strapi for everything. You know, that's me. Some people might say I might be a little bit biased, but I love starting with a community edition. But sometimes if you need some of those features like release, content history, or basic support, you could opt into those features with the growth plan, which is a very nice bridge between full enterprise plan and you need a little bit more than the community plan. And this is again for self-hosted, but you could, which is pretty awesome. And you could add these features to your plan as you need them. And I think that's like really cool to give that flexibility because everybody's different. You might be a solo developer and you could be like, hey, I just want to use the community edition. Or you might be like, I need some of these features. I really like content history, but I'm not ready for the enterprise plan. Well, this is the growth plan. Really good plan for you. It's self-serve. You could easily get started, which is like pretty awesome. And then we have the enterprise plan, which has premium support, all these other features. And that's for more bigger organizations. And I love the fact that we're giving our users this flexibility to decide where you should or where you fit in with the use of Strapi, which is really cool. So I really wanted to highlight because I love how we have, you know, our community, the enterprise, and the bridge now, which is pretty cool. So huge congrats to the team. If you're sitting down, give big round of applause. I'm very excited because this was just a huge effort from the community, your feedback from our team at Strapi. So really excited. So looking ahead, a little roadmap. We're not going to talk too much because there's some crazy announcements for Strapi Conf. So I hope you can make it there. But we're going to save a lot of our announcements for Strapi Conf because we're excited to share with our community in person all the things we're doing. But some of the things that we're going to start working on is the site editor, new cloud plan. It's something that we're talking about because a lot of people ask, but our goal here at Strapi is trying to make Strapi Cloud more accessible to all. And when we started with our Pro plan, which was $99 a month. Then we came to our developer plan, which was $29 a month. And for some people, that's like, you know what? When Pro plan came out at $99 a month, like a sole developer might be like, you know what? This plan, it just doesn't make sense to me. What's interesting about that plan, I had customers that were like agencies or had bigger projects. They were like, oh man, we're getting all this for $99 a month. This is ridiculous. It's such a good deal. So depending like where you are in the size of a project, we want to make sure that we have a plan that's right for you. And again, we wanted to start with things that help us to continue to be, generate income, because the most important part, we need to support all the other features that we're working on. So we kind of started from our premium plan and working backwards to developer plan and then to new cloud plan. And again, the next part is we are focusing on building our Strapi SDK, which is something a lot of people were requesting to make it easier for you to be able to consume your Strapi application from your front end. And we released our first V1 version of SDK, something that I'm going to quickly preview and talk about today. And we're going to continue to improve on it to give you the tools needed to easily be able to use Strapi in your front-end application in the most convenient way possible. So really excited today for that. So what's new for developers? Well, we just mentioned Strapi SDK, and it's the easiest way to integrate Strapi into your front end. So I'm going to quickly walk you through the demo app, but I suggest that you check out the documentation. And I want to encourage everybody to play with SDK while we're still making improvements and building it out, because the most important part is to get your feedback so we could continue to add the features that you would like to see in the SDK. And you could always give them via feedback. And Kenny, if someone is able to drop the link, please do so. If not, I could find it in just a moment. But my biggest challenge is talking and using my mouse and typing. So let's go and talk about it. So the first step is install the SDK. You could check out the documentation on GitHub, but basically you just install the NPM package, from the Strapi SDK repo. And once you have it, you're basically ready to go. And Dimitris, thank you so much for sharing that link. And right now, here's the things that are available to you, which we'll talk about. You could create your SDK instance, which either takes a base URL. You could also add auth. You have other different methods, but the most important one that I'm going to demo today is being able to get your collections. And when you set up your collection based on the name, for me, I was using articles, and you have the ability to find one, create, update, and delete. So we're going to take a look at what it looks like in code. So basically, I created like the most simplest project possible, but I wanted to kind of show you what I did. So the first thing you do is you import the SDK from Strapi, and then next you set up your instance. So here I have my instance, and I'm providing the base URL, but you could provide auth and the strategy that you want to use, like API token, with the different options that you have here. Once you have your SDK instantiated, you can literally just go ahead and use it. So on SDK, as we saw in the previous slides, right here, we have a couple of these, we have collections. And so you're able to kind of pass in the collection that you want to query. And so here I'm passing articles. And from Article API, I'm now going to have access to all these methods: find one, create, update, delete, which is amazing. Like, I don't have to think about it. I know what we need. And then you're able to pass your query params easily. Here, for instance, I'm saying, hey, I want to populate the cover image, and I only want to filter on the fields URL and alternative text. If you new to Strapi, we do have this way of populate and filtering in Strapi. The reason for this is kind of like similar to GraphQL, the whole idea to avoid underfetching and overfetching data. So we give you the control to decide what data you want to get back in your response. So that way you're only getting the data that you need to use, which is pretty awesome. And here, because I'm using React, I know there's Next.js, I know there's all these different frameworks. I literally just went, let me do React with Vite. And so I created a use articles hook. And basically all I'm doing, I clicked too fast. All we're doing is we're using the SDK, we're getting the collections. Once we get the data, we're just setting it to state. Super straightforward if you're familiar with React and just like using hooks. And then when I have my use article hooks that using the SDK, I'm able to use it in my main page, which basically gets the data here from the hook. I have my articles, and I'm iterating through the items, and boom, I am able to see my data. So for me, the most important part here that I want to say is that I love the fact that the Strapi SDK aims to simplify the process of how you access your data from Strapi, makes it much easier with all the methods that are available to you that simplify the process. So you don't have to do this from scratch. You just start focusing on building like your application and not worrying like, how am I going to fetch the data? How am I going to update the data? How am I going to, like, you have the SDK to help you do that, which is really, really awesome. I'm super excited for that. And now I want to talk about the Strapi preview feature, which is amazing. You could find the examples in Strapi docs if you want to see it in the wild. I created my own project because I wanted to set it up myself and like the implementation myself, but Maxime and the team created an amazing demo app called Launchpad. If you haven't used it, it's phenomenal. Check it out. And Launchpad is designed to show all the cool new features of Strapi in a pretty significant project. So if you didn't check it out, definitely check it out. We'll throw it in the links. Thank you, Alex, for sharing. Amazing app. So it has an example of the preview feature. But what I wanted to do, I wanted to go through the process myself. How do you set it up? And of course, I chose to do Next.js. So let's jump into a quick demo. So here I have my basic website, and I'll share the link to this project. Actually, let me throw it in the chat here. I apologize. I have to update the README. I just recently created this example, so I will update it so you could kind of see how to test it. I'll throw it here in the chat though. And so you could check it out yourself. But more simplified example. And here I have my basic blog, and you could see that I have a couple of different articles here. Boom, this is nice. Would have been amazing if I could like preview the draft mode and or the published without having to be in my front end website. Like, wouldn't be like really awesome to do that. And so here we are. This is my Strapi instance, right? I'm running Strapi 5, amazing, pretty cool. And so here in my content manager, I have my articles collection. By the way, what I really want to say, I appreciate the fact that when you run Strapi SLI to create Strapi app at latest, it asks you if you want to populate your app with a demo data and example. This is what it is. I love how convenient it is. It's so easy to spin up Strapi, put in some dummy data, and start kind of playing with it, which is really amazing. So let's take a look at this draft here. A bug is becoming a meme on the internet. And here we're going to look at rich text, and look, it says hello there, right? And this is in draft mode. If you take a look at published, it just says hello, right? And so if I open preview, notice now we have the tabs here. We have publish and draft. We have modified saying that the draft is different than the published. So if you look at published, it says hello. If we look at draft, it says hello there. And the cool part, I'm still in the Strapi app. And so if I update my article, right, rich text, let's go to the draft, of course, rich text, hello there again, right? Again, let's say hello. And I save, I don't publish because I want it to be in draft. I'm still working on it. And then when I go to open preview, I take a look at the draft. Look, it says hello there again. But if you take a look at published, it just says hello. Why is this significant and why this is a huge feature? The reason why this is a huge feature, because in Strapi 4, you just couldn't do this, right? If you already published an article like I have here, and you had your content editors making changes in the blog post, they would have to finish the changes before publishing, right? Because you couldn't leave it and come back and save because it was already in published state. So when you hit save, it would just republish the new data. And so that was very destructive. But now with this draft and published feature, we have the ability to easily have a draft, have your content editors work with it, knowing that they could come back to it, make additional changes, and now have two versions living side by side, the published and the draft, and they could make the changes as they need to. So let's take a look at kind of like what I did to make this happen. Well, first of all, you can go to the documentation. Let me share the link. It is documentation is your best friend. It is my best friend because, to be honest, sometimes I have a hard time remembering all the things that I need to remember. So let me grab the link for you for the docs here. But pretty awesome. And so what you need to do is the first prerequisite, obviously, set up your environmental environments. Well, it's not obvious. It's obvious to me because I did it and I saw it in the documentation. But yes, that's what you have to do. And then you have to enable the feature in your project. So here in my Strapi application, you could take a look. I'm in my Strapi backend. We have our config folder, which has our admin.ts file. And here what I'm doing is I'm enabling, right, the preview feature. Now you're probably wondering, what is this handler thing, right? So step two is you need to create a preview handler, something that's going to have the logic for what you're wanting to accomplish. So in this handler, what I'm doing is I'm saying, hey, we want to preview our document. We are getting the document ID. We're passing our preview secret just so random people can't have access to your preview. And we are returning the preview URL that's used by a Strapi application to display that preview article or whatever content type you're looking. So you do have to make the handler. Once you make the handler, I ended up using Next.js. And so each framework, front-end framework, is going to have a different implementation that's similar, but for Next.js, and you could also, if you look at the docs, they'll have a link for this example of how to create a preview route in your Next.js project that will allow you to basically have a redirect that's going to either have a draft or published state. So when we hit this endpoint, we're able to get all the data from our Strapi instance included our secret, our slug, all the things that we need. Oops, I hit the wrong button. And the only thing with Next.js is we have this method called draft mode, which allows you to set. So instead of like storing this in your URL kind of variables, you're able to actually set this as a cookie. Is this in draft mode or status? And then you could get that value from draft mode hook to be able to say, hey, this article is just in draft mode. So you don't have to worry about passing that information in the URL, which is pretty awesome. So you get the final path, and this is going to redirect us to our page. And so we need to have the logic in our page that loads the data in our Next.js. So I have the single post page, and basically what I'm doing is I have a loader that loads the data, and I am passing in the status. And the way that I'm getting status is using the is draft mode hook that's available in Next.js. And if it's in draft mode, I'm passing in draft. If not, I'm saying it's published. And so the loader, which is responsible for getting the data, will pass in the appropriate status. And so I could show you this in code as well. So here, if we take a look at my front end, and I have everything in one folder here. So if we take a look at app, we take a look at API, here's our preview route that I created, the site code I already shared for you. If we go to our articles, we go to the slug and page, this is the dynamic route in Next.js for our single page. This is the code that I was showing you before. So here, this is just a pattern I follow. I love Next.js, by the way, but I define my loader here. And because it's a basic example in the same page.tsx file, but I have my loader which fetches my data, and it basically takes the status, which I'm able to pass to my query string and filter based on the status. Is it published or is it in draft mode? And I am able to get that from the is draft mode here. If you take a look here, draft mode, that's a method from Next header, makes it really convenient. And again, this is set in our route when we make the initial request, and then we're able to have access to it via draft mode here to basically decide, do we show, if we show a draft or publish mode. One question to the community. I have some extension I installed, and it's complaining. But the reason it's complaining because it doesn't understand these Tailwind classes that are legit, and it only does it on my VS Code instance in this particular Mac. All the other ones fine. Anyway, but that's just my own gripe here. It has nothing to do with this presentation, but I just want to share the struggle of forgetting what plugin I installed for VS Code that makes this complaint. Anyway, but with that being said, that's the basic implementation, and I'm going to share the repo with you so you could check out the product. I think I already put in the chat. And if you have any questions around the preview feature or this SDK feature, definitely join us in the open office hours. Ask your question, whatever you need. I would love to help you. And if there's an answer that I don't know, I'm going to ask someone on the team and try to get back to you as quickly as possible. But that's awesome. We have our preview feature working, and so if you want to check out this feature in a bigger project, I made a very small project just for this particular example. But if you want to show and see like a full fleshed out project that you could get started with and find great examples of using different Strapi features, definitely check out Launchpad, something that we mentioned already. And you could either run it locally, or if you go to the website, you could actually check out a demo without having to do anything. We'll spin up a server for you that'll have access for your front end and your back end, and you could play around with it and explore it, which is really cool. So before we continue to Theo, let me just quickly look at the chat. See, I love, thank you all the teammates for all the awesome support in the chat. Yeah, so the open hours, Jennifer, are Monday through Friday, 12:30 p.m. CST time. And if anybody ever needs a reminder, if you go to strapi.io, well, actually, if you go to strapi.io events here, it's also, you could see all the new events that we have coming up. Oh, cool, we're having our call, open office hours, boom, right here. You could actually just click this button. It'll take you directly to Discord, which is pretty cool. And with that being said, let's see. Okay. We're doing good. Awesome. So now let's jump in with Theo. So before we start, I'm going to have Theo introduce himself, and then he's going to share his screen and talk about his very first experience building a plugin. And the first thing I want to say, he's never built a plugin before, and he just did it because he wanted to learn. And this is one thing that I want to say. A lot of folks who are thinking about building plugins, they're like, I've never done it before. Well, just start. And if you get stuck, join us open office hours. We'll help you out. But it's really cool. So Theo, thank you for joining us today. And can you introduce yourself? And I'll have you share your screen to talk about your plugin building experience.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Hi, everyone. I'm Theodore. I help with Strapi in managing the blogs, managing the content, and also in the dev-rel relations where we share resources for our developers and users to get a better use of Strapi. So as a user of Strapi, I've always enjoyed using Strapi. Before I joined Strapi, I've always loved the product. It has been an amazing experience for me. And one of the good things about Strapi is the ability to extend it with plugins. So sharing blog posts on our social media like Twitter and the rest, and as well publishing them on platforms like Medium and dev.to prompted me to build this plugin. Like Paul said, I haven't built one before. So I will go on to share my screen. Yeah, can you see my screen, Paul?
Yes, you're ready to go. We see your slides. So if you could throw them into presentation mode and we could jump in.
Thank you. So this is about building a custom Strap plugin with Medium and dev.to API. So Theodore helps in publishing contents to developers, platforms like Medium and dev.to. Now he discovers it's boring and time consuming and often a repetitive task. So instead of manually publishing to external platforms, Theodore has to figure out a solution to do this. And the motivation or why we build this plugin is to have a centralized content management, an automated workflow, and learning experience. The centralized content management means that we could do this right there in our Strapi content manager. And the automated workflow is making sure we use the Medium and dev.to API to do this automatically. And the learning experience for me is really fulfilling because it's my first time building one and I really enjoyed it and would love to do more in the future. So what was built? We built a custom Strapi plugin. It communicates with Medium and dev.to API. And what are the features? We utilize the new Strapi lifestyle function. We also created a content type for the Strapi plugin, as well as storing data for this particular content type of the plugin. We also implemented how to pass data from the server to the admin of the Strapi plugin. We integrated and consumed the Medium and dev.to APIs with the Strapi plugin. I also learned how to inject a Strapi plugin to a particular content manager, like the blog collection type, using injection zones. And we also learned about adding pagination and search functionality to the Strapi plugin. So basically how it works is when we create a blog, we use the lifecycle register function to automatically create a post which contains the details of the blog and a Medium and dev.to links to the live version of this post on these platforms. So, and we also use the APIs, which then deliver it to these platforms. So this is basically the code. So what we did was we went to the register function, we subscribe to the life cycle, and we specify that it should only be for the blog collection type, which is the blog. And we instructed that after any create event for any of these blog entries, we want to create a new data, which is the blog, the Medium link, and dev2 link set to null. And then we created the new post using the Strapi document API. And this is like a payload you send to the dev2 API. And this is the same you do for Medium. And of course, you need a Medium user ID. And yeah, some of the issues I faced is creating content type for the plugin. I had to, but the issue has been fixed now. I tried using the generate command, but it has been fixed. I had to manually use the content type and create the content type folder and create this. And the same goes with a Medium API limit of 10 requests. Like I had to subscribe so I could make more requests and test my plugin. And yeah, fewer related resources, which we've been working on now, which is this one we just created, because I wrote an article on this in 2 parts, which will help you in learning more about plugin development. Lesson learned, I learned more about Strapi and automation using Strapi. And yeah, Strapi is great for building plugins. So right now, I would love to do a demo. So Paul, what do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So this is my Strapi admin dashboard. And this is the blog collection. This is the post collection. And this is the tag. So for any blog post I create, it should automatically create a post entry. Now, I could head over to the register function here and decide to publish it directly to any of these platforms. But I want to have a better user interface. So we proceeded in creating the Strapi admin so that we could be able to manage it well. So when I create an entry here, I say something like how to optimize images in next.js. And I come here, I use Markdown for my rich text Markdown editor. I could say something like introduction and say this is the introduction, and I select tags and something like, okay, I could go ahead and create a tag. Let me log in. So I could create a tag for Next.js and publish. Head over to my blog content manager and select, oops, not this one, not this one. Okay, it's on the other tab. So yeah, I select Next.js, canonical URL, we don't have anyone yet. The banner, your banner could be your Strapi hosted project on Strapi Cloud. You could host one using our cloud and you get a URL to your image. And yeah, so we save. Now, if you noticed, we have an injected component here that could allow us publish to Medium or dev.to. But the amazing stuff is here, right here. We have the content here in our plugin manager. So basically, we have the blog ID, the date it was created, the title, the link, the link to the article or blog post, and we have our publish buttons and a delete. So here we could search for optimize and we get the results. So we added the search functionality, which we could also clear. And we also added a pagination. At the moment, we don't have all the data because we set it to 5 posts per page. So what I'll do now is I'll test my plugin and publish to Medium. And yeah, it's published. I could visit and get to see it live, which is just now. And this is it. And could as well head over to my content manager and click publish to um, sorry.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. Yeah, and this is awesome. I love the fact that you had something at work that you wanted to improve because you didn't want to do it manually, and you were like, "Hey, like I need to save time because manually taking and adding a block to Medium or dev.to, it's a pain in the butt. If anybody has done that before, you know." And so what Theo realized is like, let me build a plugin that's going to simplify my life and make it easier. And this is what I love about like Theo's plugin. He didn't just build a plugin for the sake of building a plugin. He built a plugin because he had an issue, a problem, a business challenge, if you will, that he needed to solve. And to me, I really love the fact that when building a plugin, he didn't just randomly pick a thing. He just said, I have a problem. Let me create a solution in Strapi for my needs. And that's the power of Strapi and its customization, is that you're able to create a plugin that does something that helps your client or you solve your business need. I'm actually in the process of reworking one of my plugins that I had, where I created a plugin which allows you to create, this was in Strapi 4, and I'm upgrading it to Strapi 5, which allows you to create text embeddings based on your data. So that way you can have a chatbot that's aware of all the different content type, content that you post on your website, which was an amazing learning experience. I already shared the link to Theo's blog post. So check it out. If you've never built a plugin, this will be like a great tutorial. And from all the features that he has demonstrated, from like you literally covering the full CRUD, search and pagination, how to create, a schema for your collection type, how to store it in your plugin. So you basically have all the building blocks to get you started. With that being said, we finished Strapi 5, and we now want to focus on empowering the community to build more plugins or to have the ability and the power to migrate a plugin. If you find a plugin on Strapi 4 that hasn't been migrated, maybe like obviously we're trying to reach out to all the maintainers that maintain the plugins. We want to encourage them to migrate, but there are some plugins that some maintainers either decided to not maintain or they decided to move on to something else. You'll have the power to be able to just fork that plugin or reach out to the maintainer, make a PR and say, hey, I updated the plugin for you, because I had the power of how to migrate the plugin. So we want to create more resources. And if you are building plugins or migrating plugins or want to kind of try migrate a plugin, you're always welcome to Strapi's Discord, open office hours. Give us your feedback, ask us your questions, because we want to collect as much information as we can as we continue in the near future to build out this resource for plugin developers to be able to have an easier time to build the plugins. We obviously have our documentation, but if I were honest, if someone's looking to building plugins, we could do better. I'm just going to say it. And so one thing that I'm going to recommend here, let me share my screen here. Share my screen, 1 second, entire screen. And so one thing that I'm going to recommend is that, and this is going to lead to our plugin highlights and shout out. We have Bogey, our community member. He's always with us on Discord, always giving us, he's just amazing. Like so much help. He contributes to the code base, finds issues. All these things that he does is pretty amazing. So he migrated his Strapi 4 plugin, Protected Populate, to Strapi 5, which is pretty awesome. If you're kind of wondering what's the purpose of Protect and Populate, it is a plugin that allows you to easily manage your endpoints and lets you to decide how much of the content should be available to the API. So that way, instead of manually writing that logic in your backend or your front end, via the QL query, you're able to just do it in the admin, which is really, really awesome. And one thing I was going to say, if you wanting to learn how to make a plugin, don't be shy. Look at other people's plugin. That's something that I still do. When I see a cool plugin, I'm like, hey, how did they do it? I go ahead and I check it out. And I'm glad Theo wrote that article about his experience, and now you have a good kind of Strapi 101 is to see how did Theo build his plugin. But definitely check out Bogey's plugin, really awesome on the marketplace. As always, all the repos are available. You could take a look at it. You could play with it. You could run it locally. And then, of course, we have Alex Webist. He was a big time, another community member forever. I learned so much from Alex in the community, and I'm so happy to know that he's now a Strappier because I continue to bug him with questions, which is amazing. So he recently migrated his plugin redirects to Strapi 5, and it's amazing. And again, like a big resource for me outside of Strapi documentation. A lot of times when you're learning, and this is what I love about open source projects, sometimes like you're wondering, how did they do it? How does it work? Well, you have the code to take a look at and explore it. And Alex, thank you for sharing the repo. And that to me is amazing. So there is no reason why any one of you should not be excited about trying to build your own plugin, or at least start. And if you have any feedback, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. And since we're talking about plugins, I would love to hear in the chat, what plugins have you used on Strapi 4 that have not migrated to Strapi 5 that you would want to see migrated? Let us know in the chat if you have any that stand out. If not, that's okay too. Yeah, plugin development is overpowered. By the way, I know Alex, he's like he's super busy. He just released a blog post that he helped, he wrote on how Strapi is awesome. And he's planning at some point, I'm saying this publicly, Alex, so I'm sorry. He created a couple of awesome plugins, like a schedule plugin, another plugin. I want him to share a blog post, talk about how he built those plugins, or maybe we'll have him on again to do another stream to talk about the cool plugins he made, because I love the fact, similar to like Theo's plugin where he had a business problem. How do I make my job easier? Alex had similar before he started here on Strapi. He created some plugins for some of the projects that he's working for some of his clients prior to starting here, where he made their job easier through these plugins. And to me, that is such a powerful thing, because it literally says that whatever you need, you could create via plugin. And to me, that just blows my mind. That's so amazing. And I know we're getting closer to the end of the stream. I wanted to make sure that we highlight our partners. We have many. I'm going to mention some of the recent highlights, but we have a lot. And my goodness, if you're a business owner and you need someone to help you with your projects, you could always reach out to any one of our partners. Our recent business partner, Artkai, just recently joined us. Really awesome company. They do amazing stuff. It's an end-to-end digital engineering partner for enterprises and startups, and they build amazing products. You could check out their portfolio. And so what I love, the fact is that you could build something yourself, or if you need a team of folks and you're looking for someone to do it right, you do have access to Strapi partners. You could also become a Strapi partner. You could always hit up Mark Raymond, who's in the chat right now. Amazing, amazing dude. Anyway, we're moving on. Next, we have 1020, another digital agency. Really, really cool. Their website was pretty awesome. I was taking a look at it. I love their UI, really beautiful. And 1 second here, I'm looking at my notes here. Yeah, and they're working on really cool stuff in the Gulf region, which is really awesome to have like very global partners building cool things with Strapi. And another call out, I want to call out Virtual Labs. I mean, we have partners like Nodum and others that created amazing plugins. And Nodum Nodum also migrated their plugins, but Virtual Labs just recently updated and upgraded some of their awesome plugins like Comments plugin and Navigation plugin that you could find both in the marketplace to Strapi 5. And I mean, I just love the fact, that our community and our partners, all the resources that we have for our Strapi users. Great partner, amazing plugins. And finally, I want to shout out Smulty. is a web agency specializing in web development, B2B and B2C, mostly e-commerce websites, showcase sites, and other custom web applications. So as you could see, we have a lot of awesome partners that can help you jumpstart your project if either you need help or you're an organization that just wants to hire someone because, it just makes sense for you. You have those resources available to you. And I just want to highlight a couple of content articles. We just had Nicholas release a cool blog post, choosing the right hosting option for your project. Really insightful project if you're looking to kind of take a look at hosting comparisons. So I'm going to throw it in the link just so give you another resource and for you to check out. And also, Alex Bennett is in the chat. I'm not gonna lie, I am so happy that Alex is now a Strapier. First of all, he's been building amazing stuff with Strapi, ridiculous stuff with Strapi and plugins before he started here. But he also, builds plugins. And so he wrote an article, a case study on one of his projects that he was working a while back that he helped migrate library on. Really good read. I highly appreciate, want to kind of recommend it. It's short and awesome. And the reason why is because Strapi, the whole point of Strapi, it's a CMS, it's a content management system. And so the goal is for you to think about your content in a way that makes sense for content editors, and just the proper way of structuring your data where you're able to use that data not just for your website, but if you wanted to have multi-channel and all those other places, you want to make sure that your data is structured in a way that allows you to give you the access to it in the most ideal way possible. And so that's what Alex talks about here, and the improvements he made prior to starting on the project. The previous team, they did use Strapi, but they did not use the best practices of structuring content. And I think they were new to Strapi, so I definitely understand the learning process, especially if you're coming from, like other places like WordPress. The decoupled ecosystem is just a little bit different because it is about content, and it decouples the representation layer because it really is about data. And sometimes people have hard time kind of thinking about it. But the reason why this is important is because Strapi allows you to easily do cross-platform, multi-channel distribution of your content. You could literally have one Strapi instance that has its content consumed by the website, the smart refrigerator, your IoT device, or what have you. And so it's very important to think about the content in that way. So another great resource for all you that I wanted to shout out here. And finally, we made it to Q&A. I hope you have some questions. And if you don't have any burning questions right now, no worries, because you can ask him in the open office hours or in Discord, which is amazing. So the one thing that I kind of wanted to highlight while some of you think about some questions that you might have, we talked about Strapi 5, we talked about Strapi Conf, we talked about the plugin ecosystem. And one thing that I want to encourage everyone is to try to build your own plugin. Use Theo's blog post as a start. Check out our documentation and give us our feedback, because I think that is a superpower. And Alex, who's in chat, me and him talked about it, and we still believe that it's something that some people are just not aware of how powerful the plugin ecosystem is, because it literally, bounds are limitless. The things that you could do, and some of the plugins that Alex has made and others I've seen, really amazing. So the fact that you have Strapi out of the box does so many amazing things, and the fact that you could extend it with plugins, it's such a powerful thing. So definitely feel free to reach out to us. Another thing that I want to talk about is we want to encourage you to stop open office hours and ask the questions. We want to see more folks from the community engaging, and because we want to chat with you, we want to help you, of course. We also want to get your feedback to see what things are different. And one of the things that I want to work on moving into, at least in the next 6 months and starting this quarter, is to really think about community contribution to our plugin ecosystem, or documentation and to create this path, or to improve the process of what contribution looks like, to allow you as the community and our engineering team and everybody involved to have good process that allows you to contribute to Strapi in meaningful ways. And part of that is us making that process easier for you. So if you were wondering, or if you've done it in the past and you think some things could be improved, we heard you. We know this is something that we're going to focus on, and we'll do for sure. And so let's see, any questions? My goodness, I think not too many questions today. I get it. May 13th, StrapiConf will be amazing. And if there's no more questions, I want to be mindful of everybody's time. We're going to say our farewells, but before we do, I want to thank everybody in the chat, from our team members, from the community, everybody jumping in. So amazing to have you all. We're here for you. Strapi Open Office Hours is for you. You don't have to show up there just to say good things about Strapi. We want you to show up there to say hello, give us feedback, or any constructive criticism, because it's important to us. So don't feel like that you need to have a particular reason to go to Open Office Hours. Just come in and hang out with us. I want to thank Theo for sharing his experience building his first plugin. We shared that blog post as a resource. I highly suggest anybody interested in building a plugin, go through it, build Theo's plugin, because you're going to learn all the things that he learned, and which will be amazing. How to write unit tests for Strapi API. So that's a great question. And that's something that there's multiple answers because there's many different ways that you could test the API. And this is actually a resource that it's on the radar. We're going to work on it. We have some documentation that talks about testing in the application, but we are definitely going to create more resources. So that is really, really cool. So thank you for bringing that up. And definitely, if you have more questions, join us for Discord Open Office Hours, because that's not something that is easy to answer without showing an example, right? And so that will take some time, but maybe that will be a great topic for next community call, because a lot of folks ask about testing. You know what? I'm going to take it in the docs. Yes. Is it possible to share the docs? Yes, I will share the link in just a moment, or if someone find it before me. We also have on our website a couple of different articles about testing API in our blog post as well. But let's see, while I look for that, is there any other questions? Oh, perfect. Nice. There we go. Thank you for Alex sharing that. And thank you. Yeah, thank you, Theo. Got me. My goodness. Talking and typing, that's not something I could do. I could do one or the other, but not at the same time. So thank you, Theodore and Alex. Any other questions? Yeah, but testing is a really, really good question. And I think we should do a stream. I'm going to write it down, take a note. Let's see. Any other questions before we go? Let's see. Anybody I missed? Yeah. Okay. Nice. Well, I think, yeah, this is awesome. So thank you so much, everybody, and the chat, and Theo. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day, evening, wherever you are in the world. Wish you the best for you and your families. And with that being said, we'll see you on Discord, on our socials, or in the next community call. So thank you so much, everyone. Thanks, Theo. Bye, everyone. Take care.